Pemex could become its own company, and wood is making a comeback for power plants. All this and more in today's Energy Scout News. Hello and welcome back to Energy Scout News and Information. I'm Red Byers. Opec has called a special meeting for November 18th in Vienna, and President Chakib Khalil said a cut in production is very likely. OPEC scheduled the meeting after prices dip below $90 a barrel. OPEC members exceed their targets by 390,000 barrels a day in September. But even that may not be enough to stop oil's slide. Crude oil dropped below $85 a barrel recently, which was the lowest in a year. Investors were concerned that fuel demand would drop in a global recession, and their fears outweighed even OPEC's planned output cuts. The third quarter profits look to be mixed blessing for Chevron. The company expects upstream earnings to fall from the second quarter. That's partly because of lower prices, not to mention a $400 million hit from toppled platforms and expenses for repairs after hurricanes hit the Gulf. Chevron said its refining performance should be stronger. Chevron took a downstream hit in the second quarter, but analysts expect the oil and gas giant to earn about $6.25 billion in profit when it reports its earnings at the end of the month. Well, electricity is going old school, but first, a look at today's mergers and acquisitions. Spectra Energy is selling its interest in the Nevis and Brazeau River natural gas facilities in Alberta for $129 million to Keyera Facilities Income Fund. Linn Energy is selling deep rights into central Oklahoma for $229 million. And finally, ATP Oil and Gas Corporation is negotiating with potential buyers for selected properties in the Gulf of Mexico as well as the UK North Sea. The International Energy Agency cut its oil demand forecast for 2008 to its lowest rate since 1993. The IEA dropped its forecast by 250,000 barrels per day and lowered its 2009 prediction by 190,000 barrels. The financial situation hasn't just affected demand. The agency reported that the credit crisis is also impacting supply. Mexican President Felipe Calderon has suggested Congress separate Pemex from the federal government. And that would not only free the company from federal budget restrictions, but would also give the government more money to spend next year. Calderon hopes the move would help counter the global financial crisis. He states that this is not a financial rescue program as in other countries, and it focuses on strengthening the internal motors that drive our economy. BP put the brakes on a proposed $1 billion liquefied natural gas terminal along the Delaware River in southern New Jersey. The company said now isn't the time to build a terminal, citing market conditions for LNG. The project hasn't been canceled, but it has been put on hold for at least 2 years. And now for a look at today's People on the Move. Exteran Holdings has named Ernie L. Danner as President and Chief Operating Officer. Richard A. Patarozzi has resigned from the Superior Energy Services Board of Directors, and Jose Bayardo has been promoted to Vice President and CFO of Complete Production Services. He replaces Mike Mayer, who is retiring. Boots & Coots International Well Control has signed a new safeguard contract in North Africa. The deal is worth $45 million over 3 years, and it significantly expands the company's risk management and prevention services. Operators are still recovering a month after Hurricane Ike slammed into the Gulf of Mexico. The Minerals Management Service says 85 production platforms are still evacuated. However, all the drilling rigs are now manned. The MMS estimates about 43% of oil production and 38% of natural gas production remain shut in. Move over wind and solar, one of the top choices for renewable resources these days, is also one of the oldest. Last year, wood-fired power plants generated more net electricity in the United States than wind and solar combined. And new plants are planned all across the country. Now, trees aren't usually cut down to fuel the plants. Many use wood found on forest floors left over from utility line clearings or from existing timber companies. For more information on these stories and more, you can check out our website at EnergyScout.com. And if you have any news to share from around the energy industry, you can email us at news@EnergyScout.com. As always, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.